Moving on with our algebra practice, I am here in the Brilliant application. So in the previous videos we've done cryptograms, exponents warm-up, algebra shortcuts warm-up, and today we're actually going to do root warm-ups. So we'll be jumping straight into it. We have 1 over x, so the square root of 1 over x equals 8, and we are being asked to compute x. So let's actually transcribe this over here to this other side into the notes. And Samsung Notes is actually one of the best, not one of the best, scratch that. Samsung Notes is the best, so hands down the best note-taking application I've used so far, and I've used quite a lot. So we have a square root of 1 over x equals to 8, and we're being asked for x. All right. So how do we go about it? Well, I think one of the ways is to square both of these sides. In this case, we'll have 1 over x equals to 8 squared. Therefore, x equals to 64, if I am correct. So x equals to 64. Because how much or what is the value of x over here? That 1 over x would be 8 squared. So 1 over 64 is 1 over x. In this case, we'll have 1 over 64, or we could also rewrite this 8 squared equals to 8 squared. So x is not actually equal to 64, but x is equal to 1 over 64. So it quite got me there, because in this case, if x, so let's actually do this. Let's actually do this step by step. If x is 1 over 64, so if x equals 1 over 64, then what we would have here would be 1 over 64 equals to 8 squared. Therefore, 1 over 64 is 8 to the, in this case it would be 8 to the power of minus 2 equals 8 to the 2. 8 to the power of minus 2, 1 over 8 to the power of minus 2 is equal to 8 to the power of 2. So without further complicating this, x equals to 1 over 64. All right, let's move on to the next one. Continue. I think we're gonna have to apply the same rationale here, just use a different color. Let me just first mute my phone. All right, so solve for x. We are given square root of 1 over square root of x equals 8. X equals what? So let's transcribe this. Square root of 1 over square root of x equals 8. x equals what? So if we square both sides, we have 1 over square root of x equals to 8 squared. In this case, this actually means 1 over x to the power of 1 over 2 equals to 8 squared. Or what we should do, I mean, this is one way to do it, but probably a simpler approach. So let me actually make this thicker. We can just scratch this and we can square one more time. So if we square one more time, we'll have 1 over x equals to 64 squared, or 8 to the power of 4. Therefore, in this case, x would be, if we apply the same rationale as we did here, so when 1 over x was equal to 8 squared, we had x being equal to 1 over 64. So in this case, it was 1 over 64, not 64. If we do the same thing here, we'll have x is equal to 1 over 64 squared. 64 squared is 1 over 4096. Let's see. So 1 over 4096. Okay, that's correct. All right, let's actually, we have a blank template here. We'll just do the grid template. So page template. We have the grid one. To be consistent, and to be even more consistent, we'll apply a straight line. And with the power of Samsung Notes, we can straighten this line like that. And moving on to the next one. So these are kind of very similar. So we are given 1 over square root of 1 over square root of x equals 4. X equals what? So let's change the color here. Let's do yellow. 14. We have square root of 1 over square root of x equals to 4. And in this case, we can actually infer exactly what it would be. So if square root of 1 over square root of x equals 8, and x would be 64 squared, so 8 to the power of 2 to the power of 2. And in this case, we could simply say that x would be 4 to the power of 2 to the power of 2, 4 to the power of 4. It would be 256. But this is a shortcut, so 1 over 256. We can simply square once, so 1 over square root of x equals 4 squared. And then we square one more time. So 1 over x equals 4 squared squared. So equals 1 over x equals 4 to the power of 4. Therefore, x equals 1 to 4 to the power of 4. X equals 1 over 256. All right. Okay, so moving on to something different, finally. Funnily, it didn't draw it straight. Okay, changing colors. Let's do this green. 15. So square root of 7 times x, that doesn't look right. Let's do it like that. 7 times x equals 49. So how would you go about this? I would actually do 7 times x equals to 7 to the power of 2. In this case, we could go backwards by asking what would x have to be so that the square root of this entire thing, so that the square root of this is 7 to the power of 2. So in this case over here, we would have to have square root from 7 to the power of 4, which would be equal to 7 to the power of 2. Therefore, x must be what? So 7 times 7 to the power of 3 equals to 7 squared. So x equals, therefore, so let's actually go to the next page. Therefore, x equals 7 to the power of 3, which is 7 times 7 times 7, which is 49 times 7, which is 343. All right. And the final one, I guess. Let's do red or green or pink. Let's do pink. So what is the value of this? Square root of minus 8 squared equals to what? Now this might be a little bit tricky at the very beginning, but the most or the, how many minutes are we in? 12 minutes. Oh my God. So in this case, how would I go about it is I would actually try to do whatever it's inside the square root. So in this case, minus 8 squared is actually 64 because any negative number squared is a positive number. And in this case, what is the square root of 64? This is actually equal to 8. And there we go.